We're back for season 2.
Yes, it's bigger. It's badder. It's
Oh, just get on with it.
bad scripts.
Hello and welcome back to Chapter 2, Bad Scripts. Welcome on board for another journey into the life and times of camp holidays. And joining me as ever, none other than Mr. Mike Garlier. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Steve. How you doing, my friend?
I'm very well. And you?
Yeah, I don't know why I said it like that. It's not like we speak all the time, and then it's like this reunion that I convey in this podcast that is like the first time we've ever spoken. No, I'm good, thank you very much. And
Good.
it's been a good day. It's been an interesting week. And I must admit, this week I had a bit of nostalgia.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I had a curly whirly for the first time in about 10 years.
That's a long time to go without a curly whirly. And for those who don't know what a curly whirly is, it is a Cadbury's chocolate bar. Other brands are available. That's curly and whirly and a little bit chewy at times. Is that fair to say?
I think it's very chewy. It is a caramel-based chocolate bar, and that's so funny that you have to point out there's other chocolate. We're not sponsored by Cadbury's, by the way.
Exactly. This is the point. We wouldn't want other chocolate company to turn around and say we're giving favoritism to a curly whirly.
But if Curly Whirly do want to sponsor us, then we are open to offers. However, do you know, have you ever put something in your mouth where it just
choose your next words very carefully, Mike? Choose your next words very carefully.
So, have you ever? No, I can't say it now. Have you ever eaten something where it's just brought back a memory, or it's brought back a theme or a feeling? That's what happened when I had this curly whirly. So there were always two things: a chomp and a curly whirly. Chomp also made by Cadbury's, I think.
I believe so.
I think a curly whirly is the offcut of a chomp, because the chomp is solid, whereas a curly whirly is it's got lots of holes in it and it's weird patterns. But I ate one, and it just reminded me of being a kid again.
It transported you back, didn't it?
It really did, because I've not had one in such a long time, and probably 10 years is probably like 20 years or even longer than that. So my question to you, Steve, is if you were to eat a chocolate bar that reminds you of your childhood, and I'll follow that up with another example, a topic reminds me of the song Gold by Spandau Ballet.
Surely a Whisper Gold should do that, but no.
No, a topic. So is it Spandau Ballet that sang Gold?
Yes.
So that song came out in the 80s, and I remember at Christmas getting a topic and eating a couple of bites and then walking the rest of it into the carpet, and it stayed there for a few years. But it always reminds me of that moment. And a curly whirly did the same thing. So is there a chocolate bar or some kind of food that transports you back that you've experienced recently?
There is one, and I did have it in one of those little tins of selection box, like that you get at Christmas, that you buy in the beginning of December. And you say, well, we've got these for Christmas, and they're gone by sort of the first week in December, and then you have to buy another one. Yeah, so we had one of those, and I had, again, Cadbury's fudge. Remember the little fudges that you used to get?
Fudge. Yeah.
And the song that now I'm not sure you get away with singing, which was, "A finger of fudge is just enough to give the kids a treat." I'm not sure that's probably the song you want to be singing now, but anyway.
A finger of fudge is just enough to give the kids a treat.
Yeah.
That does sound wrong, doesn't it? Especially when you say it out loud like that. So where did it transport you back then?
So it took me to that, and just stay with me on this don't interrupt before we go, because it takes me back to my infant school headmistress's office.
Oh,
exactly. When you were at this, it was only a small infant school, but when you were there, and I guess Americans would be a kindergarten sort of environment, elementary school. If it was your birthday, you would go into the headmistress's office and you do a little bit of reading with her and a bit of maths and stuff, like you would normally do with your teacher on a one-to-one. And then she would wish you a happy birthday. She'd talk about if you'd had any presents from your family. And then she'd give you a full-size, they were only a sort of finger length, as the song describes, a fudge.
A fudge finger.
Yeah, exactly. So she would give you that to eat, and it'd be a little treat. And so whenever I have a fudge now, I think of going into, and I don't really have them very often because they're not really a grown-up thing, and I don't eat a lot of chocolate, but that's the mental thought, the reminder that I get.
Wait, so let me get this right. Let me just digest what you're saying here. As your birthday present at school, your head teacher would take you into her office. She would make you do maths and English.
No maths. Just a little bit of light reading. Basically, she was giving you the attention.
No. Did she sit you in a corner and make you read?
No, you didn't sit. You stood next to her at a desk.
So you stood next to her, and she'd make you read a paragraph of the, like, I don't know, the Wolves of Willie.
Whatever your reading book was, whatever
novel, yeah. And then
you do your letters, your phonetics, and what have you.
And then, as a treat, she would open a drawer and give you a fudge chocolate bar.
That's correct. Yes. And you felt very privileged. This was the 1980s.
You went to a Catholic school.
Good. It wasn't Catholic. No, because that would have been the priest, and it wouldn't have been fudge. So we're not going to go into that now. Anyway, let's just leave that where it is. We'll move away. What I will say is, though, I know it's one of those things, because taste and smell have been found to be some of the biggest indicators of or instigators, should I say, of memory and transporters. This, you smell some things and you're like taken back. When you walk into a bakery or something, and that smell, and it just takes you to happier times. When I walk into my teenage son's bedroom, well, he's not quite a teenager yet, but and that smell takes me back to school locker room, and being back in there, and the smell of sweaty socks and things. It is transportative, if that's even a word.
Well, no, it's absolutely true. And if any of our listeners have any of these memories or attachments to something you've done, please let us know and tell us about that. We'd love to, because it is a thing. And you're right, it is a thing. And like the smell of candle wax when you blow out a candle, that takes me back to a very specific point of my life, which I'm not going to elaborate on.
Are we going back to the Catholic school again now?
We're not going back to that. But that smell reminds me. No, I can't. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say.
Don't worry.
Virginity has something to do with it, but I'm not going to say any more than that.
Well, as long as it was yours and not. Anyway, let's move on. I think, you know what, Mike, we've conversed enough. I think people are keen to find out what is happening down at Camp Holidays. So why don't we jump back in? We are, just to give a brief overview, we are several months since the last chapter finished. There has been a time jump. We're sort of early to mid-season now. Things are running. Guests are on holiday.
We are May, to be specific. We are in the month of May.
May to June time, isn't it? It's that kind of
that's right.
Before the big summer holidays are kicking in, but it's full on. And back in those days, you didn't get fined for taking your kids out of school in school holidays. So right from May time, you were getting full weeks of people coming, weren't you? It was always busy. So let's go and head down to Camp Holidays and find out what's happening on resort. We fly through the packed bar filled with revelers and partygoers. A pair of bright red pianos sit proudly atop a small stage at the far end of the bar. The pianos have no keys, but are instead platforms for excited dancers to strut their funky stuff on. As we reach the leftmost piano, we see Mushy P, Dan, and Haley doing one of the famous kids' disco routines. Despite being obviously intoxicated, they move in unison with polish and poise. Adam is stood at the bar with Paula. They down shots of Aftershock, and Paula slaps Adam on the back. Ugh, bloody hell, that burns.
I told you, if you can't hack it, I'll understand.
You wish. Not letting you off that easy. You said you could drink me under the table.
Well, we can always switch to on top of the table if you'd like.
They both pause, staring intently into each other's eyes. Then their faces slowly start to get closer. Adam tilts his head, lifting his eyebrows up and down. Simultaneously, they pull apart and burst into fits of laughter. Members of Bernie's cast enter the bar and take a seat at a recently vacated booth. Ali and Robin take seats while a chorus dancer goes to fetch the drinks. Ali looks over at the bar and spots Adam before turning to Robin.
Why don't you go talk to him? Clear the air.
I'm all right, thank you very much. I've got nothing to say to him that hasn't already been said. Adam and Paula are still laughing and joking when Paula spots the cast and turns to Adam. Don't look now, Flower, but your bestie just walked in.
For fuck's sake. It's nowhere sacred. Can't I have one night out without his sour little face ruining it?
Oh, come on, Adam. How long is this spat between you pair going to go on for? It's been weeks.
All the hard work I put in to make that band work, all the progress we made, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't be queen of the understudies right now.
This is getting silly. I don't know why you two just can't let bygones be bygones and move on. You're doing this show with Judy, so what does it matter?
It matters to me.
Then it's you with the problem.
Me? What? So you're taking his side?
I'm not taking anyone's side, mate. I'm just saying a peaceful life and for you two to stop stomping on the vibe. Robin stares intently over at the pair.
Just go over there and clear the air.
Not until he apologises for the things he said. It's not my fault he can't hack me getting... It's not my fault he can't hack me getting a bit of success and blames me for leaving him behind.
Robin, that's a little unfair. You did jump ship in an extremely public way. You really upset him.
I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but the guy wouldn't shut up. Fusion this, fusion that. So boring. He's just got to accept I've moved up in the world. Ali looks crossly at Robin for his snobbish comments. Anyway, I'm going to get Blotto and see if I can find a Prince Charming waiting for me by the DJ box.
Ooh, really? Yeah? Anyone special?
Slim pickings. But enough archers and lemonade and they'll do for tonight.
They? You plan on more than one?
1, 2, 3. You've got to live, babe. We're only young once. Robin laughs and stands up as the dancers return to the table with a tray of drinks. He picks up his tall glass, grabs one of the dancers' hands and drags her to the dance floor. Robin lets go of all his inhibitions, climbs onto one of the pianos and starts dancing loudly and proudly to the woos and cheers from the crowd below.
So, Steve, have you ever danced on a fake piano in a fun pub?
I think you know the answer to that question. I think we both have danced in that exact environment, and that was one of the key. When we talk about memories, were you transported back to that bar that we used to frequent?
I can see it in my mind. I can
Yeah.
see exactly what you're describing in that
Yeah.
scene in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was quite a slim place, wasn't it? It was quite long and thin as bars go. I think it was around the back of an amusement arcade, and then they'd kind of opened it as a bar. It was like an L-shaped thing. Yeah, a lot of fun nights dancing on pianos that weren't really pianos, but had like a strip of hole on the top.
They were. They had these slots in that you could put the keyboards into.
Right.
So it looked like a piano, but they took that away. But yeah, I mean, those lids were hard wood. I mean, but you would always see someone dancing on one of the pianos at whatever time of night it was. Someone would be up there, gyrating and and doing their stuff. It was just part and parcel, free shows basically. If we'd known back then how valuable our moves were, we would have charged for it, but we just didn't.
Well, think about it now, right? As a man in your mid-40s, right? Looking back on that time, you got paid to go and do dancing and things all day, and then you went out for a night out. What did you do? Exactly the same thing as you got paid for. Would you do that now?
That was freestyle, darling. That was honing crafts in the real world.
Because routines are for showgirls.
The first routines are definitely. Yeah, but you know what? I'm sure many performers have had this problem, right? And I don't know whether you've had this too, but when I was not being paid to dance and work in routines and being told what to do and shown what to do, and then you follow this routine because that's what you've been taught to do, I couldn't dance. And you remember that because we used to go out and you'd be like, come and dance. I'm like, I can't do it because I'd been programmed.
You didn't have any freedom of movement anymore. You were literally
Exactly.
programmed to do particular
programmed
moves.
to do what's been taught. And then when it was, when I went on to, when I stopped doing that and I went on to a freestyle, then I found I could freestyle and just do whatever I wanted to do. And it was so weird. And now I can't dance out. Can you still dance? I can't dance.
It has been, I was complimented recently at a party. But I'm very self-conscious now. Like I say, because we're in our 40s, when you dance that you just look like an old man dancing, because even you see all these boy band reunions and things, when they all get back together and you watch them doing a bit of a routine, you go, it doesn't look the same when when you're getting on a bit to do those routines.
Yeah, I mean, when you're walking on with a couple of walking sticks.
Hey, I'll have you know that somebody said you've got the proper moves, haven't you? And I was like, well, let's just say one did do it for a living for a short time. I didn't mention the stripping. I thought that was best to avoid.
Totally. But no, you're right. And I don't think you should feel old, though. Like, does Madonna feel old when she's doing a gig and dancing away?
Yeah, but the trouble is the majority of Madonna isn't as old as she is. So she's got a lot of new parts on there, so it makes it a bit easier. Whereas I think I'm out of warranty now, so...
Okay, well, I think we need to see this. So maybe you'll put a video up of you dancing, and then we'll let the listeners decide. Yeah.
If we get enough likes and comments on our social media, then maybe I'll put a picture up. In fact, a video that my daughter took of me unknowingly dancing in my kitchen that she took a couple of weeks ago.
So there you are, folks. If you want to see Steve dancing in his kitchen, please write into us and let us know. And if we get enough votes and a yes, we'll put it on.
Fabulous. Let's find out what's going on back down at camp. Interior, Alan's office, night. Alan, John, Bernie, and two others, an accountant and a marketing manager, are sat around the table, facing Glenn, who is once again on the projection screen. It's very late, and Glenn looks tired and irritable.
So as I was saying, the construction on the Premier Chalice is all but complete. Just some plumbing and electrics, to snagging to get over before decorators can take over.
And are we still on track for opening?
We'll be done in time, Glenn. Slightly over budget, though.
Slightly? I'll tell the jokes, Alan. It's massively over. They better be worth the extra expense. I want them open ASAP. How are the bookings going? Pre-sales haven't been as strong as we'd like, I'm afraid. Why? Oh, well, there are a number of reasons for that. Like what? The marketing manager looks around the room. No one makes eye contact as they fumble through a response. Well, just variables in the price. It puts people off. British holiday makers, they gravitate towards a more budget-friendly experience, more for less, you see. Glenn goes quiet, thinking this through for a moment. And you know this how? Oh, well, market research suggests. Glenn looks directly into the camera, his voice booming through Alan's office. Alan, you know how I like to work. Would you kindly tell this jumped-up little arsehole how best to frame his next words to me? The marketing manager looks at Alan in shock. Alan winces slightly before regaining his composure, clears his throat, and talks clearly.
Be brief, be right, be concise. Don't speak in ifs and buts. Know for sure, and be an expert in your field.
Glenn claps his hand. Good, Alan, thank you. Now, my friend, what is your field of specialism? I'm the resort's marketing manager. Good. Now show me your expertise. I guess communications. Glenn looks long and hard.
Does he? What?
I was
what
just
part
about to
then?
say,
Looks more than
"Oh,
hard.
hello,
What part of it?
Eddie, you wrote it, not me." The irony is not lost on me that as my communications expert, you are struggling to articulate yourself in this moment. So take a minute to gather your thoughts, because the next time I hear from you, it had better be with a straight answer. Bernie. Bernie's head jolts up as he realizes the focus is now on him. Update on the show. All underway, darling. Rehearsals are in full flow. Bernie flashes a smile at the room, but it's really aimed at Glenn. Marjorie, update, please. Marjorie, the accountant, looks through her papers and finds the one she is looking for.
Bernie is currently 27% over budget.
I can explain that. I'm all ears. We have a number of unfortunate incidents. Our leading man had to drop out due to injuries, causing us to recast some of the main players. I mean, the chemistry wasn't right when you changed, you see. Very normal for that things to happen on these large-scale productions. Our stage is not quite ready, and we've had to bring set builders in from London. Trying to find them locally was a bloody nightmare. We've had to apply for some special pyrotechnic permits from the local council due to the size and scale of the show. I mean, but all problems are fixable. It's just a little time-consuming and costly, with nothing to show for it. The season is in full swing, and we don't yet have our headline act. It will be ready, Glenn, darling, and you'll see it. You will not be sorry. When? We can show you via videotape if you want. Give me 2 weeks and I'll courier over the dress rehearsals.
Bernie, I think what Glenn is actually asking is, when will it be ready?
Well, thank you, Alan.
Might I suggest the centenary date in June? Seems rather apt that you premiere on the 100-year anniversary of camp, doesn't it?
But, I mean, that's only a few weeks away.
3 weeks and 4 days to be exact.
Bernie, through gritted teeth. Thank you, Marjorie. I can start a marketing campaign for it. Advertise nationally in all the local papers. Can you? Of course. Glenn sets his sights back on the marketing manager. So, tell me then about this premium accommodation failing to sell. Alan whispers across the table.
Be clear, be concise. For the love of God, it's late.
Well, research tells us that people tend to seek out deals on the cheaper end of the spectrum. You can get a standard chalet for half the price, and given that people don't tend to spend a great deal of time in the chalet, it stands to reason that the premium accommodation will struggle to attract, well, unless it's a premium customer. And what research is all this based on? Well, it just feels obvious from a sales and strategy point of view, but if we offer the premium chalets for a few nights for free to some celebrities, get them to have pictures inside, I mean, we could even name them after the stars. Picture it, come on, and stay in the luxury Chris Akabusi suite. Then it gives us an angle to go after, you know. Live like the stars and all that. The marketing manager laughs this, feeling good that he had suggested this idea. Alan, have we sanctioned any market research to validate our friends' views here?
Not that I'm aware of, Glenn.
Well, we haven't really undertaken that yet, but if you'd like, you know what I would like? No. You to take your ideas, views, thoughts, and opinions, wrap them into a tight ball and shove them as far as you can up that tight little hole you call an arse. Excuse me? Alan, fire this fucking imbecile. There's a shock in the room. Bernie's face looks ashen. Alan looks unperturbed as the marketing manager looks at him, mouth wide open.
You heard the boss.
The marketing manager stands up and begins arranging his papers into a pile.
That's okay. You can leave them there.
But these are mine.
No. Camp Resort's property. You won't be needing them any longer. In fact, you know what? I'll have security escort you out.
But it's the middle of the night. Alan picks up the phone and waits a few seconds.
Yes. Can you send someone to escort an ex-employee out, please? Yep, boardroom. Correct. Thank you.
Alan puts the phone back on the receiver. There's a brief silence.
You can wait outside. They'll be along shortly.
The marketing manager gets up. I'll be speaking to my agency in the morning. This is no way to treat somebody.
Good. Well, we'll look forward to the call. And if you speak to someone in your agency before we do, please, could you ask them to send a replacement?
Are you actually kidding me?
Yeah. Good point. Yes, you're right. We'll find an agency capable of doing the job instead. I'll get on it tomorrow.
The marketing manager storms out of the room, slamming the door behind him. Bernie! Bernie under his breath. Oh, Jesus. Yes, Glenn, darling. Get the show back on track and watch that budget, okay? Premiere in 3 weeks, got it? Marjorie, no more spend without Alan's direct authorization, okay? Yes, of course, Glenn. I understand completely. Good. Alan, let's see who we can get celebrity-wise to stay in those chalets. I really like that idea. Alan nods. Now, is there anything else? John.
well, mate. Sorry, not mate. The penthouse needs more funding, Glenn. The original budget doesn't cover your additional requests. Look, I'm sorry,
No problem, John. Spare no expense.
Oh, okay. Well, consider it done.
Right, good meeting, team. Let's work through the problems and create some magic. Glenn abruptly leaves the screen. The room is in silence as Alan, John, Marjorie, and Bernie remain still. Alan gets up and pours himself a large drink. He sighs, then paints a smile and turns to face the room.
Drink, anyone?
Bernie immediately jumps to his feet. Oh, God, yes. Marjorie says nothing, but writes something down in her pad, catching Alan's eye as she does so. So that was a big scene. That was very contrasting.
Well done. Well done for that, mate.
And to you.
Well done for South African Welsh and narrative at the same time. So well done. Really,
I mean, it works really well in the edit. So I'm sure it'd be smooth as anything in the edit. There were some mistakes. Mistakes were made, but it's okay.
You should keep the mistakes in. To be honest with you,
we'll see.
It humanizes you, Steve.
I don't want to be a human. It's fine. But a nice contrast, I think, from that fun pub scene in the beginning, showing the two different sides. It's happening essentially simultaneously.
Yeah.
The late night meetings happening, and
what it does show is Glenn means business. He's just fired the marketing manager. He's frightened Bernie, and I think that a little bit of Bernie's had free reign pretty much at the moment.
I mean, I don't know about you, Mike, but when you're in a meeting like that, that marketing manager must have wondered what the hell he'd wandered into there, because he's basically and we don't know how long he's been working there because he's not been mentioned before. We haven't really discussed this, but he is a sacrificial lamb there for everything that's going wrong.
Well, saying that though, have you ever been in a meeting where you felt someone's not done their job and they're just fobbing you off and talking in the way he talks, and like, I've been in thousands of meetings like that where you think you're just saying stuff, but you don't know for sure, but no one's brave enough to call it out. At least Glenn's called it out and said, well, do you have any evidence to support this? Or you're just opening your mouth. And I genuinely believe if he'd stopped talking, he wouldn't have got fired. He couldn't shut up. He couldn't stop himself.
I think he was trying to talk his way out of it, but that's not the approach necessarily to take, because it was all generalisms and we believe in market research. And I think Glenn spots straight away that he's like, well, what research is this? Have we sanctioned this research? Where did you pull this from? And because he can't evidence it, it's like, what he means is this evidenced or is this your opinion?
So I must admit, when we were writing that scene, there's probably a little bit of our own lives going into that in terms of the meetings that we go into, but it does mirror that view of, I've been in meetings where I felt that people are talking crap or just talking for the sake of talking, and it's really frustrating. But you don't say anything because that's not the etiquette. But I'm glad Glenn took action now, because sometimes I just want to go, well, hang on a minute, how do you really know that? Are you just saying it to make it appear that you've got some value to add? So. I mean, we won't make too much of a habit of doing that, but that resonated with me, and I'm like, yeah, you deserve to get fired. He basically, he's not marketing anything, and then he comes up with this amazing idea. It's like, well, why wouldn't you have done this already? Why wait till now?
You do wonder if he's been resting on his laurels and not really making much effort, and that these ideas are within him, so he has the capability to come up with stuff. But at the same time, isn't pushing to do it. So, he's been called out. I mean, I don't know whether firing was the first place you go to. Maybe you'd get this sorted, come back to me with something in a day and do it. But Glenn's not a guy to mess around. So he's going, give it to me now or you're out. And it's a time when you could get away with doing that. You probably couldn't do it now. You'd have a tribunal or something. But back in those days, you could just get away with it. You go, right, you're fired. And that was it. You were gone. They'd find a reason.
But the marketing manager doesn't work for camp. He works for an agency who's seconded in or whatever.
Well, he said, I'm your marketing manager. So I can see kind of that there would be some form of contract with the company. And you couldn't just fire the company, willy-nilly. But I think Glenn doesn't care about that. If it's going to cost him, whilst he cares about his budget in terms of don't take the mickey out of me, money isn't an issue for him in terms of he has an infinite supply, basically, for all he needs. And if it's something along the lines of, I don't believe you're doing your job, he will risk the fines or whatever to get rid of that person, because he's like, I don't want you in my organization.
This is true, and we've gone really deep into business chat, a very rare event for this podcast. So let's get back to the show.
Let's get back to the fun. And I'll tell you what, let's go back to that fun pub and see what the guys are doing. Interior, fun pub, night. Dan is doing the worm on the centre of the stage, whilst the other campcoats cheer and holler. Robin and a few of the cast look over disapprovingly. Donna approaches Dan. She looks less than enthused to be there. Hey, babe. I'm absolutely pooped. Should we get out of here? Dan briefly breaks away from the frivolity. Hey, sweet cheeks. I'm just getting a nice buzz on, babe. Can we stay a bit longer? I've got to be up at 7 tomorrow to set up for the model making. Pam's letting me run things for today. See how I get on, I want to show her I can do it. But, babe, I promised Adam I'd stop and have a proper night out, Are you going to be going back on your own, Donna looks a little crestfallen with Dan's lack of enthusiasm to depart with her. Donna, reluctantly. Yeah, no worries. You stay if you want to. Babe, you're the bloody best. I'll see you in a couple of hours. Mwah. Dan plants a large peck on Donna's cheek before turning back to the dancing crowd. Donna turns and slowly makes her way to the exit. She smiles at Ali as she passes the table. Ali is sat with the cast group, but isn't engaged in the same manner and appears somewhat an outsider and bored. Ali watches as Adam, Dan, and Paula help an inebriated mushy pea back to a table and slump him down on a chair. Oh, man, he is proper wasted.
Hey, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
Deep, mate, deep. Paula spots Ali and beckons her over. Ali gingerly stands and makes her way over the crowded room to the campcoats. Watcher, Asterix, you okay? Oh, you don't look too happy.
Hey, nah, I'm okay. That lot are a bit highly strung for me.
If you're looking for someone to lower the tone, you've come to the right gal.
Ali! There she is, slumming it with the common folk. Them lot won't approve. You mixing with the lower classes over here? I couldn't care less what they think. That's my girl. Right, come on. We're going to get some cocktails. You up for a fishbowl? Oh, well, go on then. Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
They all head over to the bar, leaving an oblivious Mushy P slumped into a chair. Interior Entertainment's office, night. Karen and Wayne are sat in the office, surrounding a Monopoly board. Karen is doing quite well and has a stack of property, cards, and money, whereas Wayne holds the utilities and a few train stations. Come on, baby, free parking, free parking, free parking. Wayne rolls, and it's an 8, landing him directly on Karen's fully loaded red hotels. Karen squeals with delight. You owe me £1,800. Wayne leafs through his notes, and it's clearly not enough. I'll do you a deal. Take this, £370, and the utilities. I think you're done, Wayne. Hey, it's not over till it's over, Karen. A turn of fortunes is only a roll away. Cheese, ham, or sausage? Oh, you just had to, didn't you, Karen? I'm getting kind of peckish now, to be honest. Might order a pizza and you fancy one? Nah, thanks. I've got me a flask of Bovril. That'll do me. So you rolling then, or what? So are you going to take my deal? Kiss it here then. Wayne hands over the cards and the cash, and Karen picks up the dice and rolls, landing directly on one of the utilities Wayne just gave away. Bloody hell! Wayne then rolls the dice in his hand. Come on, baby, give me 2, a 2, a 2. He rolls to get 4, landing directly on Karen's red property, complete with hotel. She just looks at him. Stupid game anyway, causing family feuds since the 1970s. I've always hated it. Well, why'd you play then? Well, I mean, there's nothing else to do, is there? How long are we stuck here for? Well, until they've finished. Karen starts putting all the pieces away. I mean, I don't see why we have to stay late, though. I mean, they're all adults. Insurance, liability, whatever it is. We can't leave until they do, so we don't have another Vladimir incident. Oh, I heard he recovered quite well and is back performing again. Yeah, that's what you want to call it. He was a bit shit, though. This lot, though, on another level. Yeah, I took a sneaky peek in earlier. It looks really dangerous with all that flying around and the acrobatic stuff. My heart was in my mouth. Have you seen the daughter, though? Oh, bugger me. Karen looks disgusted at Wayne. You watch your mouth. She's not of age, you know. What are you talking about? She's 19. I took her passport details down. Well, you should stay away. You go near her, it'll invite trouble. Wayne turns to face Karen, a smug look on his face. Oh, I don't know, Karen. A nubile young Slovakian maiden, experiencing the UK for the first time, wanting to know what a true British man is like. Oh, you know, I think I could be that guy. If it wasn't for Kelly, I'd... I think you should stop speaking, Wayne. Oh, Tatiana, with your perfect curves and lack of the English language. Oh, we'd have to talk with our bodies every day, every night, every waking moment. Now, if that's not poetry, Karen, I don't know what is. Wayne turned suddenly to the door to find Sergei stood in the office doorway. 6'3", pure muscle, arms covered in tattoos, an imposing figure as he looms over Wayne. Oh, hey, Sergei. Sergei nods, once only, glaring at Wayne. Karen, has he been stood there long?
Long enough.
Oh, you can understand me?
I hear, yes. I understand, too.
I was just saying how how great you guys are. I mean, loads better than the last one we had. He was rubbish. Sergei enters the office, his huge hands covered in chalk powder, veins popping out of his barely covered body.
Vladimir is my cousin.
Wayne looks very nervous and uncomfortable. Well, I mean, I see. That explains a few things.
What does it explain?
Wayne is not expecting this question and struggles to answer. What can we do for you, love? Sergei looks at Karen and smiles, his face softening. Karen almost melts.
We are finished. Family wanted to say hello and meet team.
Well, bring him on in. Sergei nods and turns, glancing a menacing look at Wayne on his way past. What the bloody hell, Karen? You could have told me he was stood there. I think you were too stuck in your daydream to take notice, to be honest. Sergei returns with his family. They all walk into the office.
This is wife, Natalia. Son who is Vlad, after cousin. My youngest boy, Dmitry, and daughter, Tatiana.
They all step forward and either nod or smile. Very nice to meet you all. My name is Wayne, and this is Karen. They look at Wayne, then back at Sergei, confused. Do they speak English, Sergei?
Some.
Well, it's very nice to meet you all. If you need anything, please ask me. Sergei translates this, and they all nod and smile. He then speaks again, and they all leave. Sergei stops at the door and turns to Wayne.
Daughter is not poetry. You go near, I break you like twig. You understand this?
Wayne looks pale. Yeah, of course, I promise. I was just kidding. English humour.
My daughter is joke to you?
No, of course not. I was joking.
You are the joke? You are joke?
Clearly so.
You are not funny, little man.
I'm not. No, you're right. Sergei holds his gaze for a few more moments before disappearing out of the room. The family all leave the venue for the night. I break you like twig. Did you hear that? Jesus, Eastern Bloc are calling. They want the 1980s threats back. Wayne sits down and picks up a pizza takeaway menu, staring at it without making any eye contact with Karen. She quietly smiles, clearly amused by what's just occurred. The Slovakians are here! Woohoo!
Slovakians have arrived.
They have arrived. They speak English for a change, or at least Sergei does, as far as we know.
Sergei is the only English-speaking person so far. Yeah, well, we don't know about the other characters yet.
Yeah,
we haven't quite defined that yet.
Yeah, that's good. But I'm sure there'll be a mixed bag. But Vlad's cousin,
Vlad's cousin, and that was. I know it sounds a bit unrealistic, but trust me, that really happened. So we both work with the State Circus of Moscow and stuff like that, and they were all related. They're a big family kind of organization. Generations of people that would do it. So when they would come along and perform, all their families would come with them. And so that's not too dissimilar to what we experienced. And you'd work with the dad, the brother, and in fact, and very, very sadly, actually, I was working with a couple of acts from the Ukraine at one point, and the father died whilst during mid-season, and we had to bury them, and their son was still around. He did the show with a chimney show with his dad, and and we did that, and then the show, we had to continue onwards. And I remember saying to him, and we'll do what we can, so. That's a rather dark way to.
I was a very sad. You took a very sad tune with that.
It was, but it was, and that's really what happened. And what I'm trying to say is that these are whole generations of families. So when the parents or the grandparents will come along, it's generation of children that come with them, and they've been trained throughout to enter this life. And
and it is a lifestyle, isn't it? Completely,
it really is.
100%.
And so incredibly talented these guys are, and so dedicated and committed.
I know, because we talked about this a little bit when we talked about Vlad in season 1. The hours of rehearsal that go to making a 15-minute show. They'd be rehearsing for 8 hours a day in studios and stuff, just perfecting to the nth degree every move that they make, so that when they go out there on stage, it looks flawless and effortless. And I can't salute them enough.
No, and that's what it was like. From my memory, they were either in the rehearsal rooms rehearsing their show, or they were performing live, or they were sleeping, and that was really it.
Yeah.
And we if anyone remembers season 1, we made a joke about this big poo in the toilet that we named.
Yeah, Turdski, and we did say that was a real thing as well, didn't we? So,
and it really was. It really was. That came from from a Russian who left us a little present there. But it's nice to introduce a different dichotomy, a different family to this year, and we get to explore more about their culture and what they're all about. And so
let's hope we see some more from them. Yeah, I hope we see some more from them coming forward. So we've had scenes in the pub, we've had scenes in the boardroom, and we've had scenes in the Ent's office. It's been an eventful first episode of the podcast back. What's your takeaway from what we've got so far in chapter 2?
We've covered a lot of ground tonally. We've had some very different dynamics happening. We've got the camp coats all on a bit of a night out. We've got the cast there that have been a bit aloof. We have the boardroom with Glenn establishing his authority over the group, and we've just introduced the new Slovakian family. So all of that should be a little bit of a precursor of what's to come.
And things are really going to start heating up now, because as we know, we're getting into the middle of the season. We're at the business end. Things are really starting to ramp up. So I think the drama, the tension, and the laughs should all be increasing in the coming weeks. So make sure you stick with us for that. Mike, as always, I think it's time. We didn't do this on the special, and people have commented that we didn't do this on the special. So I thought we'd better do it again tonight. And we'll ask for Mike's words of wisdom to close out the show.
So my words of wisdom is this. When you go into your local store, shop, supermarket, supermercado, supermarché, scan the aisles and find a treat or chocolate bar that takes you back to your childhood. Buy it and eat it. And just allow yourself to be transported back to that point in time. Thank you.
And on that note, what can we say other than join us next time for more Bad Scripts fun with me and Mike. Until then, goodbye.
Bye.
Bad Scripts was written and performed by Mike Garlia and Steve Jones, a Beach Tide production.